And you know, if it's Tuesday, it's all about the docket. Edwin Obuya, up and early, kamakawa kamadawa. Fanya mambo kinuthia also in the house. Gentlemen, as always, karibuni sana.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Are we in China?
At least Kenya Airways is there.
Kenya Airways imefika?
Yeah.
In the line.
Ile ndege ya mabeshte sijui ilienda wapi.
No, Gen Z.
Ile ndege ya my friends,
Yes,
at
yes.
least ili disappear.
Friends wa Dubai.
We thank God. My friends wa Dubai ni kama wamesort around it, they can't afford a jet.
Right.
But at least Kenya Airways is flying in China. The pride of Africa.
But look who steps out of the plane right behind the president.
Ni Photoshop. KJ would tell you it's Photoshop. This one.
Enigma.
I'm a photo expert. You know I'm also from Dagoretti South.
Yes.
I'm a photo expert.
And you
This
know
one Baba they have wamemwekelea.
they edited him in.
They're insisting that there's no deal signed between ODM and Kenya Kwanza.
Boy, come on, man. We're not children.
But yeah, we are not children.
Yeah.
We know what is happening. And,
Exactly.
The fact is that Baba ako ndani kabisa.
Akondani.
Ndani kabisa. Kama Mbadi, the chairperson of ODM, is the person at the helm of the finance ministry in the country. So what else do you want to show that Baba is inside the government? Ako ndani kabisa. Ndani.
Of course, there's money. There's pesa. There's always money from China.
Yes.
Why do we need Chinese money to solve
Because
Kenyan problems?
you know how the Chinese, they pay. They don't ask any questions. These loans are unsecured.
I kind of feel like they print money when you need it. They go, they tell machine print some, they give you Kenya. But now when you are paying them,
Bus.
you pay them in real hard dollars and dollars. Yeah, you just print some yuans. Who else uses them? Who knows how they look like? How do you even know a fake one? They just print for you and give you the ones they don't need. And then now you'll pay for them dearly. I think Kenya is making a huge mistake. What we should have been doing is not going to China right now. It's doing a list of what Kenya is importing and banning. I mean, 60 years after independence, we are importing toothpick from China. Amuiko from China. You know, a lot of things that we should not be importing. I think it's a high time we sat down as a country and did a list of all those things that we've been importing from China and to start banning them and to tell Kenyans, kama uwezi tumia toothpick locally made, where was a meno? They will make their own. But we can't get to a place that 60 years after independence, we can't make a bicycle. It is wrong.
At a fish, say we are importing from
tilapia.
China. Yes, tilapia from China.
Correct.
And frozen. Na ni cheaper kushinda ya Kisumu.
Wow.
That's how bad it is. But I think the president is trying to unlock. You know, there has been some issues with the Chinese loans for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. They have gone slow on giving money to African countries. You know, with what happened to Ghana, with what happened in Ethiopia when they were not able to pay the Chinese loans, and they have been going slow on that. I remember the intention of the SGR was to go to Malaba, Busia Malaba, and so I think the president will also be trying to convince them that they give us more money so that we finish the SGR, because as it is, where the SGR is right now doesn't make too much economic sense. Ilikuamilia hapa kwa naitwa train to nowhere. For karibu kishapita Naivasha kidogo hapo
longo not hapo siji.
So it is a train to nowhere. So I think he will also be trying to look for money to finish that SGR, and there are lots and lots of things that the president will be trying to unlock the monies to come from China. You remember there are roads that I've told that were started by Chinese loans. Yeah. We had last Friday, that was Friday I think, chairperson of budget committee Ndindi Nyoro saying that they have received 40 billion from China to try and complete those stalled projects. And so as much as we are saying that we are not going to borrow anymore, I think tunaenda too deeper into debts. Yeah.
Allow me to submit something here. You know, he spoke about roads and you touched my heart. There is this animal called Kera. Another moribund things called Kura. Another one called Kenha. And then their mother Kenya called Kenya Roads Board. Now, first and foremost, all those moribund institutions are supposed to be helping us build roads in Kenya. Are you aware they don't even own a shovel? They don't own a spade. They don't own a mattock. These are tenderpreneur engines. Their work is to give out tenders for roads. In fact, I dare submit we need to amalgamate all of them.
Iwe moja.
All of them. Once we amalgamate them, we call them the Kenya Tender Road Board. Yeah? And then we talk to Google. Actually, we need to talk to Bolt and Uber. They have a map of the whole country. They even know where there are potholes. Then this just, because it's a tenderpreneuring entity, its work is just to give tenders for roads. I mean, why would you have a whole thing called Kura and they don't have a shovel? They are not service providers. They don't get tired doing anything. What these people do is that they are a channel for tenders. Nothing else. So we just need to amalgamate them into one. We call it the central tendering for roads, something, put it somewhere, and all they do is using Google Maps, wanaangalia ni gani imeharibika, and then they tender. Because how can you have about 5 institutions in charge of our roads in Kenya, and none of them owns a shovel? When we were young, Jeff, let me tell you, we grew up knowing that there was Kenya Institute of Highways and Building Technology that used to own tractors. They owned graders. They owned this thing ya kubonda bonda. I think it's called the whatever. But they used to do roads. Now you have a whole thing called Kura or Kera or Kenha, and they don't own a shovel. Kazi yao ni kupeana tenders. Just make it a tender committee, centralize everything, ask Bolt or Uber to give you the pin locations of how our roads look like, and then you just give tenders.
And you saw that young man Morara on JKL last week talking about how billions and billions are spent on roads.
Yes.
And the projects, they start
and they stall.
And they stall.
You never get to finish them.
Sometimes you go to a road, Jeff, and you wonder why Kenyan studied civil engineering. Because the person talking about, oh, I got the tender for the road. You look at the nails, you ask them, have you ever built a toilet? Have you ever built a toilet? No. And those are the people who are being given tenders for the roads. You find someone who has no idea.
No clue
of what is the difference between a culvert and a trench. And they've been given a tender to do a road, 14 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 17 kilometers.
Teachers strike in Ndabi. Elisha tu hivyo.
When the teachers announced they were on strike,
Yep.
whoever the minister for education is, because we forgot his name again, he's not spoken.
He's the new guy.
That new guy,
Yeah.
he kept quiet. I mean, there is a serious industrial action in your ministry, and you are quiet. He kept quiet. So parents were torn on to whether to take their children to school or not. Some did, some didn't.
Yeah.
And they kept quiet. I think walikuwa nataka tulipe fees. So people paid school fees. I think once they realized that school fees is enough, yesterday in the morning, most principals from all over the country decided to release their children to go home. Because actually they were staying in class and doing nothing.
All day long.
All day long and playing. And it's not possible for the few teachers who are in school, BOM teachers or BOG teachers, to manage the students. So they let them go home at 6 in the morning. I spoke to a child from a national school who left a national school somewhere within Mount Kenya at 6 in the morning to take the 3 p.m. SGR because they come from Kwale. So at around 7, they are hearing when they're in the train, and you know that train doesn't stop,
No.
They're hearing when they're in the train that the strike has been called off. Huyo mtoto ataenda Kwale,
Nah.
ama ataambia train isimame, it make a special turn for, na hata akisimama, where would they go? So that child goes to Kwale. That child got to Mombasa at around 10 in the night when they alighted the train. Find their way to Kwale, maybe afike kwao midnight. Is that child supposed to start taking the 8 a.m. train today to go back to their school in Murang'a? So this government needed to start using common sense and to realize that parents are spending money and parents are suffering to raise the fee. And for some people, school fees is a lot of money. A child living in Kitale and studying in a school somewhere in Taita Taveta spends about 4,000 shillings on fare, which is very hard for some parents to raise. Huyo mtoto analipa 4,000 kupelekwa shule ambayo ina strike. Wanakaa tu shule wanakula maharagwe huko. Yeah, na akivuta bangi, there's nobody to watch over them. No. And then that child akirelisiwa asubuhi na a principal who was set there by the government, then kupet cause of the strike, and up to now the Minister for Education is yet to say anything.
It's a mess, and I thought, but that this time when teachers were striking, I actually expected that the NAT also would stand their ground and strike so that we get a permanent solution to these issues, because as it is, we've just given it a painkiller again, and the symptoms is going to reoccur, and it is going to come back strong actually, because even with calling off the strike, there's no return to work formula that was signed, none. And in verbal word of mouth too, now we have agreed this, call off the strike. And this is some serious twisting that happened with the Kuppet leadership, and at times you understand why some people don't have confidence in these union leaders, because at times they are taken advantage of and twisted and leave their members not satisfied with what they have agreed, because I want to assure you that most teachers are not satisfied with what was said yesterday, because there's no deal. The issue of promotion has been a huge issue. There has been a huge outcry on why teachers are not being promoted. We saw a story on Friday when Ben Krui did that story of a teacher who was he was offered that we cover your face, we don't show your face, and he said, no, I'm tired, show the face, I want to speak as truthful as possible, because he has been in that position for the longest time. He has gone to read and done masters. He has done everything that is required of a teacher to do to get promotion. He has not got promotion. That is one of the main issues that were supposed to be dealt with. It wasn't. The agreement was the TSC is working towards, looking for money to promote the 51,000 teachers. When is the deadline for that? Is it even achievable that you are going to leave TSC to look for money to ensure that teachers are being promoted? The issue of medical cover, teachers have been complaining that they go to hospital, they don't get medical care. Was that addressed? No. So there are lots and lots of things, that demands that teachers had put on the table that has not been addressed. But what we are being told is that the strike is off. Even yesterday, some of the Kuppet officials actually walked out of the meeting because they thought we are being taken for a ride by the TSC, and it's going to reoccur. Yeah. I can assure you. There are some teachers who are saying they are not going back to class. We have heard stories of Bomet teachers saying this is a mockery of what we are doing. How can we strike for a week and we come out with nothing?
And there's nothing as bad as a disillusioned teacher handling our children. No. You can force them into class, force them if you want, beat them up, put them in Subarus, intimidate them, do whatever you're going to do. But those are disillusioned teachers. And now we are sending our children in the hands of teachers who feel not properly remunerated, not respected, not promoted. They feel like lesser human beings within their own country. And they are also overworked. Actually, one of the things they were asking for is for the employment of 46,000 of them. Because I can tell you, for those of us who have children in national schools, usually every teacher is overworked. Most national schools have between 50 to 65 children in one class. So you can imagine marking 50 compositions, whereas their counterparts in private schools are marking 30 compositions. Yeah, so I can tell you that taking them to school for government looks like it's a reprieve. But the amount of disillusionment that they are going to meet on children, I don't even expect good results this year, next year. So they have to think about that. Taking them to class by force is one thing, but making them teach with disillusionment is another thing altogether. You need to contrast that
with police.
With a lady who was not voted for, getting 700 million. Because she's a first lady, deputy first lady, CG first lady of the prime cabinet, secretary of I don't know where. 700 million. Anapewa tu hivyo ni kama njugu. So that 1,000 they are adding to teachers. If you take 700 million and divide by 1,000, it would be about 70,000 teachers.
Yes.
Yeah, they would get that 1,000 addition. Unapatiwa one lady sitting in State House or some DP's residence or another one. Prime cabinet anakuanga wapi?
Railways.
Yeah. So that's what's annoying Kenyans. It's not even the fact that the country is saying we don't have money. It's when they have it, they spend it on the wrong priorities.
So mtu ya Murima akisema jana that they are now forming a task force to make sure that, you know, the government, they follow what the promises that the president makes, to make sure that they are implemented. You know, do you need something of that sort to make sure that what the president promises is implemented?
A task force.
They just need Morara.
Bus.
Morara is enough.
Only Morara.
It's enough.
Morara is enough.
And he's doing it pro bono, by the way.
And hoping that Hussein doesn't make a phone call.
Yeah, of course. They need to just help us fuel his car.
Hussein is my friend. I will not say.
Chef, I think I need Morara's number.
Yes.
Tell him I need his number because tutafanya collabo fulani.
I was literally surprised. I didn't expect that to come from him. Yeah, you know, you were in the same class in college. Yeah, so I know the man.
He went to
Hussein is
college.
Hussein is learned.
I'm not saying in terms of, but media. It was media. What did you study? Maybe you studied BCom. It was media.
So I was literally surprised by what Hussein was saying, and I even texted him and I said, "Guy, are you
okay?
Are you okay?" He has not answered me. Probably he's in China right now. He has not.
You can never be okay when you join Kenya Kwanza.
He must be in China.
And Morara summed it up that they have a honest man lying for them. He literally summed it up.
Yes.
Na watu wa ODM mtamnisamehea because in February hii kiti hatupati. Afadhali tu tuambiane ukweli. I support Baba, I love him.
Hii kiti imeenda.
I wish he would win. But hii kitu imeenda. Na ikienda campaign ya 2027 itaanza. Let me tell you what Ruto will be saying. Sasa unaona mzee wa vitendawili. Nimekuwa nikijaribu kusukuma yeye, nikapeleka AU, hata huko alianguka, hata uchanguzi nilimshinda, hata ingine nitamshinda. Then Baba on the other side will be like, yeye najaribu kusaidia yeye, napatia mpaka minister, napatia mpaka body, lakini ameshindwa kuran. So I am telling you, this will be the messiest divorce ever. I am waiting for a very serious divorce. The divorce between Kenya Kwanza and ODM will be such a serious divorce, and it will have many casualties. And the good thing is that Baba will live with more people when he's leaving than he came in with. He came in with 4.
Yeah.
Atawakumbusha ile kitu ya KANU. You know, he left with Saitoti and Kalonzo. Atatoka na wengine kadhaa. Just watch this space.
They can put there Fanyamambo. I'm not saying he's not qualified, but they can put him there and he could win.
Are you sure you had tea for breakfast?
So it's all about the interests of the countries na shilingi. No, so what concessions would Kenya be willing to give to assure us, say, North African countries, Morocco, Algeria? What concessions will they be giving, and what concessions will they be giving to assure, say, French-speaking countries to support Raila's bid? I still believe that he has a chance. He's a strong candidate. I still believe that he has a chance. I still believe that the personal relationships he has built over time with some of those nations might play in his favor. We know for a fact that the president of DRC is a personal friend of Raila Odinga, despite the fact that they are not seeing, DRC and Kenya are not seeing eye to eye diplomatically right now. I still believe that the relationship he has with some of those countries and the leadership of those countries is going to sway the vote in his favor. And so I'm one of those people who still believe that Raila Odinga still has a chance.
Do you honestly think that Yoweri Kaguta Museveni would sit in a voting booth alone and tick Raila's name?
Why not?
You think he would?
But he came here to town to support him.
That's Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for you. But I don't see him doing that. And as you said, we have strained relationships with DRC. That's why we wanted to send an ambassador who tells us that GDP is the population of a country. That would have been the best way to solve that problem.
By the way, was he ever appointed?
Hatujui. Hata sasa hatujui ambassador. Labda tutajua minister of education na kuna strike. Tutajua ambassador.
Or DRC.
Yeah. Just go slowly on these people.
But then what was his name? The guy of
Givinji.
If I was to borrow the words of Mbadi, allow them to have their skunk.
Yes. And now what's Buddy saying?
Well, he's in charge of finance. Anatenga, anapanga, anapangua.
Na China pia?
No,
China.
but give it.
How did they fit in that plate?
Give it to Mbadi. Give it to Mbadi. He has come in. He has tried to be more transparent. He has tried to appear on TV. He has tried to show that, you know, money can be explained. He has made some few errors here and there, saying there's no money for employing JSS teachers, then correcting it after two days.
He was shown where it's kept.
Yes.
He didn't know some rooms.
Pesa imewekwa wapi kwa hiyo budget, but akaambiwa iko. But at least he has, he's talking about these things.
Yeah.
When was last time did you see, what was his name? The former CS
Treasury.
Yeah. Njuguna?
Professor
Njuguna.
At least that one we remember him.
But when last did you ever see him on TV addressing Kenyans?
Never.
People are
but he wasn't serving Kenyans. Why would he address them?
People were wailing about finance bill, and he kept it very mum.
He never said a thing.
And the people they sent on TV, they made things even more worse.
Rigiji
said, mimi sikusema Raila ni mbaya. Ni president alikuwa ametuambia Raila ni mbaya. Sasa kama president amekuja kutuambia ni mzuri, sasa mimi ni nani nikatae? That was the first, and it just shows you how our politics are actually.
Yeah.
We change, my perception of somebody can change just like that.
We are chameleons.
Yes.
That's what we are.
The problem I have.
Chameleons.
Just because Raila has said Ruto is a good man, now he can go to Kondele and address people.
At international affairs, very carefully, Musalia Mudavadi. And now Raila Odinga. I think Raila Odinga will be assisting the president in international affairs.
Especially AU.
Yes.
And maybe China has a vote for AU, I don't know. But now, Rigiji, other than Mulima, what other agenda does he have?
Zero. Or maybe that is introducing something for
kuna coffee.
Oh yes.
Kuna hii ya kukunywa. Is it still a menace? Hiyo mambo ya kukunywa
ya vijana.
Is it drug abuse?
Kamnyweso.
Alcohol. Ama ilisha.
I used to think they were making a mistake. Until I tried living under the guidance of this government. When your child leaves school at 6 in the morning, and then a strike is suspended at 6 in the evening, and you've not even gotten home to see your child, it will force you to drink hata kama ukinywangi. So, I don't blame now the people who are drinking. You pay fees, the child goes to school.
Yeah.
And then there are no teachers. And then it's like government is not aware the strike will be called off. They allow children to go home. I mean, you would drink, my friend.
And then he asked you for money to get on the train to go all the way to Kwale.
But it's very expensive.
It's very expensive.
Hata hajafika Mtito Andei. 6 akuangu umefika Mtito Andei kutoka 3.
It's very expensive.
Man.
Mtoto karibu ashukie kwa train katikati. Now that child will go to Kwale.
Atarudi aje?
No, you have to go home because hata ile fare alikuwa nayo si ya wanu.
Imeisha, correct.
Na hiyo fare
imetumwa.
Who is struggling in Kwale? Talk to her, mwambie auze minazi kadhaa for some time. When the mother has got enough money, and the Minister for Education has forgotten to speak again and give guidance because we are not sure about what will happen tomorrow, like you saw with the flooding situation, huyo mama hata asikimbilie sana kupatia mtoto another 4,000 ya kutoka Kwale aende Murang'a High. Because you don't know. Train inafika katikati, waseme sasa
wamegoma tena.
It's bad.
No, can we end on a positive note at least? Anything positive? I'm so depressed right now.
Anything positive?
I feel like Vila ulisema, you have to drink. If you don't drink,
you don't drink.
You have to drink. Anything positive?
I'm thinking.
In spite of what government has done, Kenyans have been fearless in telling this government you're doing the wrong thing.
You and mean people like Morara?
There are many. Nowadays even on TikTok, people are just speaking.
Wanaongea.
Mpaka wanasema naishi place fulani, naendesha kagari fulani, kujieni tu muniue. Kenyans have gotten to that point. And mine is to encourage them. As long as you're not saying things that are spreading hate speech.
Right, no hate speech.
As long as you're not saying things that are not factual. If it is the truth, speak it out. That is what will help this country.